This presentation on the future of auditor training comes to us from Jackie Stapleton. Jackie is the founding director of Auditor Training Online, which offers online and blended courses to both new and experienced auditors. Jackie is a practicing contracted certification auditor for quality, environment, and OH&S management systems. She leads audits ranging from small and medium enterprises to large global corporations, including commercial, industrial, and civil construction, oil and gas, petroleum, infrastructure, utilities, IT, and telecommunications companies, and government. And with that, take it away, Jackie.
Thank you. Hi there, everyone. I'm Jackie Stapleton, the Director of Auditor Training Online. I have been asked by Exemplar Global to provide an overview of what some people in the industry of learning are seeing as the emerging trends, specifically in the online or e-learning environment. Before we commence, I thought I'd provide some background as to why I am here and why we may want to understand a little bit about the online or e-learning world, as well as auditing. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the Director of Auditor Training Online, as well as a practicing certification auditor in the fields of quality, environment, and OH&S. Auditor Training Online is a recognised training provider with Exemplar Global, as well as an RTO, so that's a registered training organisation, where we deliver nationally recognised competency units or BSB units, as we might all recognise them more so as. We deliver fully online courses in lead auditor, quality management systems, environmental management systems, and OH&S management systems. We also deliver what we refer to as blended learning for our HACCP and Pathway to Diploma of Quality Auditing courses. These are referred to as blended, as while there is a large component still delivered online, there is also a component to support performance criteria requirements, such as explain, demonstrate, and conduct. So generally the competency components. Students are also required to complete workshops and tasks delivered through workbooks, as well as provide video evidence of tasks undertaken. Before we move on to discuss these emerging trends in the world of training, I thought it would be beneficial to visit the traditional classroom delivered training and understand the pros and cons of this. Firstly, there are the pros, so the positives of learning in a classroom environment. There's the shared experience, so students can learn from others. There's always chatting and storytelling in a classroom, and this is a great learning environment for students because it provides examples of real world and helps to understand a sometimes dry topic, particularly auditing. Role play is easier to conduct in a classroom environment also. So, for instance, you can conduct an opening meeting or audit interview in a classroom by teaming up with other students. This helps to learn by actually conducting the activity. In a classroom, there is always a trainer available to ask questions to ensure understanding of any content or workshops along the way. Then there are the cons, so the negatives of learning in a classroom. So there's the obvious time away from work. So yeah, that's right, sitting in a classroom for anywhere from one day to a couple of weeks even. This takes you away from your workplace, and it is difficult to stay present while work is still going on in the background. There's also the travel and accommodation costs. Training may not always be conveniently in the same town as you live. Most of the time, travel to a capital city is required, and this adds on the additional cost of flights, taxis, vehicle hire, accommodation, and meals to the cost of the course as well. Different people also learn at different speeds, meaning that when you're in a classroom, there are always different dynamics, backgrounds, industries, and experience. On top of this, people have different learning styles as well. This can be difficult to manage in a classroom environment where normally the most experienced or boisterous gets the attention. Cost is normally higher as well, as there is the additional expense of room hire, catering, course books, trainer fees, and so on. The goal then is to understand what technology is out there that can be used to bring these pros into the world of online learning. This is becoming increasingly easier with the improvement and development of technology and software. Picture a world where artificial intelligence was able to learn what the student's learning style is and put learning in a context in which they enjoy, be it music or even putting a rocket on the moon. You might be asking, why would we bother with this? We just want to get our certificate and keep it simple. I guess with any sort of technology and education, we are always trying to increase the level of interaction and to personalise the learning experience while catering for people's learning styles for ultimately a better learning outcome. What's to say that a course that currently takes you 4 days to work through with a stagnant PowerPoint presentation couldn't be done in just 1 day with this new technology, simply because you're immersed in the learning with all elements and performance criteria all at one time. So with this image in our minds, let's explore the emerging trends in technology and learning and see how we can apply them to the learning environment. At Auditor Training Online, we conduct our own research and development to try to stay abreast of any changes in technology and the industry. I have listed the areas that our research and development team have uncovered as emerging trends in e-learning technology. This is probably not an exhaustive list, but ones which our R&D team have also been either involved with or have had some exposure to in the past. We are going to cover the following areas in more detail throughout this presentation and see how they might look in our world of auditing and management systems. So we're going to cover interactive learning, video learning, artificial intelligence or AI and learner assistance, augmented and virtual reality, so AR and VR, social learning, micro-learning, gamification, and finally, adaptive learning. So let's take a look at them all now. First off is interactive learning. So interactive learning is something that we use already at Auditor Training Online and is a common concept we see in a lot of online training currently. We use a program called Articulate Storyline 360. This program was designed to help trainers and e-learning creators build interactive courses that hook a learner's interest and lead to greater retention of the content. The interactions can be described as passive, limited, complex, and personalised. To explain these further, passive interactions include written, audio, or visual content, which requires basic navigational interaction. So courses can have written content supported by audio and video, or even sometimes the content is the video itself. Then there are limited interactions, which include such things as multiple choice exercises, pop-ups, which are slide layers, light boxes, information markers, simple animations, and even the occasional drag and drop activity. Then we have complex interactions, which are activities such as written or text entry responses to questions. This may also include branching scenarios, which is like using case studies or real-life examples for students to review and respond to. And finally, there are personalised interactions, which respond to learners with dynamic, personalised content based on previous responses during the course. So, for example, in our HACCP course, you input your name and other details at an early stage of the course, and then you, the student, become part of the HACCP team moving forward throughout the course and other activities. Additionally, this can be used through a knowledge check, where we can determine the current knowledge level of a student, and they can skip certain sections based on this existing knowledge. So what does this look like in the auditor training world? Some of these examples listed were raised on the previous slide. In the video example, you can see, so I'm looking at the auditor training world side of things with interactive learning. You can see now some of these examples were listed on the previous slide. You can see now the video that played through had examples of the case study where you saw light boxes, hotspots, and the selection of an image or person being used. This then builds a team and follows a scenario or case study, which all leads to a more interactive experience for the learner and supports the retention of information as well as understanding of what is being learnt. So now we can move to video learning. To help us to understand this, I've broken this up into the what and the why. So the what includes video presentation for student consumption, meaning that we can include videos to help reinforce some areas of learning. It is really about including different types of learning tools to the courses so that different students can consume the knowledge in their own ways. Ability for students to record themselves as well and submit their own videos. The same technology will allow students to record their own role play or activities for evidence of completion of tasks or workshops required. We are really already doing this in online learning. However, the tools and software out there are improving to the degree that makes this so much easier for the student as well as the training provider. Video or live events can be recorded and reused or re-accessed at any time when needed by students, whether they participated or not. And the why is to take this a whole step further. Transcription technology is becoming quite impressive, which allows assessors to not only extract the spoken words from videos or live events, but to also use machine learning algorithms and natural language processing to perform analysis of transcriptions. This means that assessment of videos can essentially be handed over to the robots. So video learning in the auditor training world can be used to demonstrate what we would normally do in the classroom, which might be to verbally explain, show and demonstrate different concepts and processes for auditing. For example, we currently use video learning for students to review examples of opening meetings, closing meetings and audit interviews. We provide both acceptable open and closing meetings and interviews as well as what not to do. Students also record their own conduct of opening meetings, audit interviews and their closing meetings to demonstrate to the assessor how they have met performance criteria. Video or live events can be conducted so that students can interact and conduct these same meetings and interviews while sitting on other ends of the world. That's pretty cool. These can be recorded and submitted as evidence of learning. You could also extend this type of learning to document and record like site walkarounds or inspections, which is something you definitely cannot achieve in the classroom environment. So now we can talk about artificial intelligence, commonly referred to as AI, and learner assistance. At the moment, you might be familiar on websites when a chat window pops up and you can talk to a real person on the other end. The way AI is progressing, instead of a real person on the other end, there could be an intelligent agent or a computer program, essentially. These agents can understand natural language, You will chat to them just like you would a real person, and it will be able to understand the context surrounding the words you are using and provide an answer based on potentially your own learning style and conversations you have had with this intelligent agent in the past, offering a tailored experience. This is not to ignore the fact that no matter how good the intelligent agent is, there may be some questions it cannot answer, and that sort of question needs to be seamlessly transferred to a real-life human that can fill in the gaps. We could say that this interaction is normally more suited to younger students. However, most age groups are now becoming more familiar and comfortable with this type of interaction. AI and learner assistance can be brought into the world of auditor training by having more interaction between student and trainer, whether the trainer is a real person or intelligent agent. The intelligent agent is there to support the student through commonly asked questions, and if needed, can be escalated to a real trainer with tacit knowledge to assist. We could take this a step further and create a chatbot style interaction between an auditor and an auditee, with the auditee being the intelligent agent responding to questions asked by the student. This could imitate an opening meeting, audit interview, and a closing meeting, and give students the interaction to learn how to respond to potential auditee responses. Now, I'm sure everyone has heard of virtual reality, commonly referred to as VR, and possibly augmented reality, commonly referred to as AR. Virtual reality at its simplest might be simply incorporating panoramic views of an environment and having the student identify hazards or aspects. You could also click within these scenes and they would provide feedback on those chosen items. VR is the entire world reconstructed, and you would normally need to wear a special VR headset or goggles. Then there is augmented reality. A great example of this is Pokemon Go. I don't know if you've all got kids or grandkids that may have played this, or maybe you did. I know I had a go. Unlike VR, which simulates everything, AR essentially superimposes computer-generated images onto the real world. So unlike VR, AR could be delivered through a mobile phone or a tablet device. If we look at this from an auditor's perspective, we could essentially do, say, a site walk around, and there could possibly be mobile plant like a forklift or people in a scenario or scene. So within a space, we could be on a construction site. We would be able to walk up to, say, a concreter or any number of different characters for that matter. We could then ask verbally or request licenses or tickets and so on, and these may be able to be presented to the learner. In this same scene, we might be able to identify OH&S hazards or environmental aspects and interact with them to take note in our audit notes. This all seems out of this world, but it is really close to becoming a reality in our world, if it's not already in some areas. So moving on now to social learning and gamification. Social learning is about trying to get the learner to stay focused and hold their attention, which is easiest to achieve through social interaction and reproduction of the practice being learned. To fully leverage social learning, students have to be placed in an environment with other learners, which is where gamification comes in. Leaderboards and badges partially simulate this environment, as learners can observe the performance of others, and this drives them to participate or compete while learning along the way. Another area that falls under social learning would be discussion forums. These have two broad functions where learners can, 1, contribute and interact, and 2, observe the contributions and conversations of others, Learners can observe the discussions of others, enabling them to learn from their experience and gain new perspectives. This mimics the classroom environment perfectly. Social learning would be great for any type of audit management system course. It would mimic the social interaction in the classroom and those shared experiences. Gamification works great with micro-learning, which we'll discuss shortly, as badges and trophies and leaderboards reward the student for small achievements reached along the way. Now we can move to micro-learning. I truly believe micro-learning is where the world of learning is heading, or is at now actually. This type of learning is normally short bursts of information that are easy to access on a mobile device on the run. There might be quizzes along the way to cement the learning, and gamification is also normally integrated with this, so there are rewards or badges for achievements. It may not be ideal for our world of more technical or compliance-based requirements. However, there is definitely potential to add on micro-learning for any extended learning requirements that support our formal qualifications. While micro-learning may be a bit difficult to implement for the larger, more technically recognised courses by Exemplar Global, they are perfect to use for extended learning programs. Micro courses that help with our career development and soft skills as auditors, such as the personal behaviours that auditors should possess. These courses could cover ethical behaviour, being observant and perceptive, versatility, open to improvement, as well as cultural sensitivity and so on. All of these skills can be learnt in small grabs of information to support our more technical qualifications and knowledge. Micro-learning could also be used to introduce small chunks of learning for more operational aspects of our jobs, for say PPE or ergonomics. This is just a nice, simple way of introducing